Hey, what is going on, guys? Mike here, and it is Monday. Mondays have been very busy for me lately. Luckily, this week I am on fall break, so I have some time to record. I'm getting ready to take a ton of photos. We have so much stuff stocked up for Christmas, and it is like pure hustle mode to get as much listed as we possibly can at this point. Now, there's a number of things going on with eBay that have been affecting a lot of people, including myself, so I want to talk about that a bit. There was some sort of fall seller update, and they're updating the site, and a number of people are having issues with listing. I cannot use the mobile app at all to list. If I try to open a listing, it just brings up an error every time, and it's been doing that for about 48 hours for me. I've seen in a number of the reselling groups other people having issues with listing, things being deleted, photos being removed. I had a few listings that I made live, and all of a sudden the photos brought up an error page. So obviously there's some back end stuff that is going on, and it's affecting quite a few of us. But the reason I really wanted to make the video was because although that is true, I see so many like negative comments, and this is why I try to stay out of the Facebook groups too much, about just every aspect of eBay. And it bothers me because I feel like there's a lack of personal responsibility, personal diligence taken in these accounts. People post and say their sales are slow, eBay flipped the switch on them, a bunch of people chime in and agree. It's this really negative tone, and I don't know what goes on in the back end of eBay, nor do you, nor does anyone else really. I mean, it's a very complicated site, and it's not something that is easy to run. And I feel like no one ever gives eBay credit. I get that they have a lot of issues. I get that historically they haven't treated the sellers the greatest. But at the end of the day, running that kind of business is extremely difficult. I mean, incredibly difficult. Just imagine the amount of data in and out with all these listings and people posting stuff nonstop, and how many minute little things can go wrong. And no one ever seems to care about that. They just complain about what's happening. And the other thing is, I see tons of posts about sales being slow. Jill and I's sales are booming, and it always concerns me because I'm like, is there this weird conspiracy on the back end that just shuts people down? But on all my years on eBay, this is year 11, I believe, I haven't had many slow times, and I really fail to believe that it is some sort of back end hidden thing that has to do with seller metrics that gets your listings less views. I really don't believe that. I believe that there's some level of personal responsibility. I've noticed people, I'll often ask them, like, okay, what do you sell? Show us your store. And I look, and it's like things that sold on eBay 15 years ago. They're listing like Beanie Babies and things, and the photos are terrible. Like, absolutely horrendous photography, no description, nothing's measured. These things matter, and there's too much of an emphasis when it comes to listing on eBay about efficiency and not enough about quality. The end of the day, you need good photos, you need a good description, you need all this stuff, because that is all the buyer has to go off of. They are purchasing from you with just that information. If you want to have accurate sales and you want to have a good experience reselling at all, you need to take the time to make a good listing and create good listing practices. This is something I've worked on with Jill immensely, because listing is not easy. It's complicated. There's a lot of aspects to it. There's all these policies you have to pick, and shipping can be very confusing for new people, and I get that. But if you're really struggling with sales, then you should consider your photos, your descriptions, the stuff you're selling. Have you tried selling different items? Are you listing consistently? Are your items priced competitively? I mean, all these things matter. You can't just post stuff and it sells. That's not how it works. You have to post things in a competitive and effective manner to sell them. It's a capitalist market, right? Anyone can undercut you. Anyone can compete against you. Assuming you don't have like a true one-of-a-kind item, there's going to be competition. That's just the way it is selling in an online marketplace. And yes, that type of atmosphere isn't best for the seller. It's best for the buyer, because the more competition that arrives, the better prices the buyer gets. For the most part, there are collectibles and things that retain value no matter what's going on, and there's markets that have ebbs and flows, and like the video game market is way up right now. I used to sell video games for a fraction of the price of what they're selling for now. Had I just held on to my video games, they would have been worth 3 to 4 times the value I ever got out of them. But I was selling at market price then, 5 to 10 years ago. That's what the market price was. It just so happens that the market fluctuated upwards. Same with Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, all these different collectibles, baseball cards. It's the reality of the situation is the marketplace changes. If you've been on eBay a long time and you're still trying to sell the same shit, maybe it's time to make a change. Maybe there's something more here than just eBay's algorithm or understanding what's going on behind the scenes. And the other thing I want to mention here is you have no control over what eBay chooses to do. Okay, complaining in a group doesn't help anybody. Complaining to others doesn't help you. It is not a successful way to approach the issue. If eBay is not working for you, okay, and you don't feel that you're selling items adequately the way you should be, then you need to explore different platforms. This is a level of personal responsibility that everyone must take if something isn't working out for them. You must admit to yourself that it's not working out. You must explore different platforms or sell different items and make the changes you need to make to have a successful business. That's what a business owner does. That is their job. That's their sole main job. Keep the business alive by innovating, making changes, being active, creating a social presence, providing a service or item that people want on a platform that they're using. There are so many marketplace sites. There's so many now. There's Mercari, Poshmark, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Amazon, and probably 10 other ones I don't even know about. And all of them have people buying stuff. It doesn't mean that they're all going to be like eBay was in its heyday or is now. But there is opportunity to make money. Sometimes the smaller market is good because there's less competition. So if you haven't explored other marketplaces, that's also, partially your responsibility to do. You need to take the time and do research. And I get that cross-listing and things can get complicated. We use a program to list our items onto Etsy. Even that isn't that simple of a process. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff I have to do to make the listings compatible with Etsy. And it can be very confusing. It can cost extra money every month that not everyone has. I get it. But you really need to think about what you're selling and what the best platform for your item is. There are people just killing it on Etsy that don't sell on eBay at all. There are people killing it on Poshmark and Etsy that don't sell on eBay at all. So there are options out there. I know sellers who just use Amazon and sell FBA related type items, and they don't deal with too much used stuff. These are all different options that you have to consider. And if something isn't working, you have to change what you're doing. And I get that it's frustrating for people, especially if they have a history of good sales and all of a sudden their sales are dipping. But I can tell you that I know a number of people who are doing great right now. Jill and I have done over 10,500 in sales on eBay in it's like 56 or 57 days now. So almost 2 months. And we've been listing very sporadically. I mean, we have like 600 listings, but really not that much listing going on the last couple weeks, and we're still getting sales every single day. So I really do feel deep down that has more to do with what people are selling and more to do with how they're listing it than eBay itself. Now, with the update and the glitches, I don't know how that affects search. I really was having a hard time doing anything on the app last night, and I haven't had issues with it previously. And we've also had things on the computer where it's deleting policies, and I've just decided to forego listing for the next day or two and see if it clears up. Hopefully it does, because we are just stockpiling. And that was the last thing I wanted to talk about. If there's issues on eBay and you can't list, it doesn't mean you have to be like pissed off and just give up or whatever. You can go do something else productive in your business. If you cannot list and you were dead set on listing, well then maybe you should take photos and stockpile photographs so when you can list, you can list for a long time. Or maybe you should organize your inventory or where you store stuff so it's easier to deal with once everything's back up. Or maybe you should go source because you're short on items right now. There are a million other things you can do in your business if something isn't working. Don't dwell on that aspect. It's too easy to get caught up in this loop of dwelling on things and, blaming eBay or the platform or whatever it may be. That is not useful. It isn't useful to you. It isn't useful to the community. It isn't useful to your business. You have to just take it with a grain of salt and move on. Move on to the next thing. Work on the next thing. Work on the next project. Work on building a social presence. Whatever it may be that you want to do for your business, you have to just get over it and move on to the next step. Dwelling and getting annoyed and posting all frustrated, none of this is useful. And I don't know, I've just been seeing it a lot in the groups, so I wanted to mention it. And maybe, I'm preaching to the choir here because the people watching this video aren't the ones that do this type of stuff. And it's possible that's true. But I just feel like a positive attitude and an approach that is more adventurous and willing to adapt and change is a lot more successful in reselling than being stuck in these old habits and old ways. You really should take a step back and ask yourself what is working, what isn't working, why isn't it working. And even if it was partially eBay's algorithm or whatever to blame, there's likely other aspects that you can control that you haven't addressed. You can't control what eBay does. None of us can. Short of being a huge shareholder in their company, you're not going to be able to change their actions. And if you're a huge shareholder, you probably don't need to be reselling. So it's not really a consideration there. What you need to do is work around what you have and move on from there. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to share my peace of mind today. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope sales are consistent for people and everyone's getting ready for, well, we're in Q4, but getting ready for Christmas and the holiday. And we have so much stuff here, if you look. Like, just boxes and boxes and boxes of items that are going to need sold. So I'm going to photograph, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.